ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, iRacing fans from around the world. Welcome to another KMA Pad Race. How you doing tonight,
Hi.
Scott?
I am doing very well, Cody. We are both very happy to be up here, very excited about tonight's race. We are at the monthly race for Pad. We're actually doing an extra one today. Felt like promoting Pad a little bit today. This coming weekend, we've got the Walk with Pad on April 15th. So we're talking about Pad just a little bit more. The month of April, that is a Distracted Driving Awareness Month. In fact, big shout out to PAD, People Against Distracted Driving. You can find more information out at padd.org. Now, a little bit of history here, ladies and gentlemen. The reason that PAD was started up there by Mike Kaleni after losing his daughter in an unfortunate text and driving accident. Nikki, rest her soul, she was in the back seat, and the driver of the vehicle decided that it was a little bit more important to be messing around with a cell phone than keeping the eyes on the road and the hands on the wheel. The driver, she was beat up, didn't exactly walk away, but she did survive, and unfortunately, Nikki, innocently into the back seat of the vehicle, lost her life. And Mom and Dad Kaleni decided to go and try to see if they could do anything to prevent these tragedies from happening ever again, and they created PAD. PAD is also involved with real-life ARCA racing out there with Venturi Motorsports, I do believe. So, you know, we're all trying to do everything we can here to talk about PAD, educate the drivers, our friends, our family about how dangerous it is, actually, to be out there screwing around on a cell phone. Also want to give a big shout out to Cora and James Brown. Tonight's winner will receive a pretty cool looking hat there from Cora, Championship Online Racing. And I also want to give a big shout out to Alan Larson with Max Mount. Max Mount doing their part to prevent any possibility of distracted driving by issuing out the hands-free devices that's up there on top of your dash. It's a dash mount, phone holder. Their way of making sure that your hands remain on the wheel and your eyes are on the road. This is KMA TV, ladies and gentlemen. I am Scotty as Cody, and this is the monthly Pad Race. We have Cody Lipster up there on those cameras tonight. He's going to be flashing up a lot of logos. We're going to be playing some good commercials, and we're going to be out here at Talladega for 100 laps, 266 miles. We are driving the Chevy Silverado and the Toyota Tundras. We're looking at our weather out here. Great temperatures out here. We've got an air temp sitting at 65 and a trap temp sitting at 75. Mostly cloudy out here at Talladega. Do believe these tires are going to stick, and they are going to stick hard. This track length is exactly 2.653 miles. So we're going to be running lap time sitting here in the 50s. Taking a look out here at our qualifying order as these drivers are finishing up. We have got Richard Brose out there on that front line with a 53.326. Sitting side by side with Travis Browder with a 53.328. Steele Fields, third position with a 53.337. Donald Stewart out there in fourth with a 53.338. Rounding out our top five is James Brown with Cora with a 53.344. Steve Dutz sitting back in sixth position. Ronald Klein in seventh. Matt Burkhart, eighth. Our good friend Gary Whitmer Jr. out there showing his support for PAD in position 9. Big shout out there to GW Graphics and Mom and Dad Whitmer out there on that KMA TV chat. Edward Bray rounding out our top 10. Position 11 belonging to my good friend Snoopy, Mr. Glenn McNeese. Everett Fastlane Racing sitting there in 12th. Danny Rudy, P13. Big shout out to Dan's Top Notch Heating and Cooling. Michael Johnson out here representing PAD and AAA Motorsports sitting back there in position 14. And in 15th is my good friend J.R. Johnson, position 15th. Tristan Beat sitting back there in position 16. Greg McClendon, our Friday night sponsor with Blaze Pizza, P17. Eric Stiles, Harry Dodd, John Pansula, 18th, 19th, and 20th. 21 belonging to Ivan Garcia. Also in the field back there, we have Joel Guy and Chris Hogue near the rear of the field out there. Alrighty, Cody, tell us what we need to know out here as we do get ready to go green for 100 laps here at Talladega.
Well, out here at Talladega, it's a very simple but complex track. A lot can be learned and a lot can be lost in a very short amount of time. So, you know, a lot of drivers, the more calm that you can keep it, the better off you are. So, really be expecting a lot of side-by-side, a lot of three-wide, a lot of, hopefully we'll keep it calm, cool, and collective racing, but no guarantees just because there is a high chance and a high rate of speeds. It affects a lot of drivers in a lot of different ways. So a lot of high speed racing, but still some really good hard 3-wide, 4-wide action possible.
Going to be a lot going on out here tonight, that is absolutely for sure. And we're going to see a lot of pretty looking trucks as we are coming down that backstretch at pace speed. Taking a quick look at the number 78 of Donald Stewart. Donald Stewart right there out of the gate, already showing his love and his support out here for Pad. Looking very sharp in the Angels Never Die. I do believe that paint job was brought to you by Over the Top Paints and Designs. Big shout out there to John Hedrick. Up here in front, we are going to have Richard Brose side by side with Travis Browder. Travis Browder, always a fun driver out there to watch. Obviously a big fan of Mr. Busch out there in NASCAR, driving the 18 M&Ms. Hoping that Travis will do well out here tonight in the race for Pad. 266 starts and restarts here are always done on leader's discretion. Pace car is in. Richard Brose holding steady at 80 miles per hour. 81 miles per hour. Travis Browder. Perfect side-by-side start right there, Cody.
Absolutely perfect, beautiful as they come up to speed. It was awesome to see how perfect that actually went for them because they were able to just barely start rolling. After they got rolling forward, they were. That was just wonderful to see how side-by-side, perfect, tight. Everybody was on top of each other, just stacked up wonderfully so far.
Drivers have got to be prepared out here tonight for the long haul. Rich Brose on that inside, being pushed on by the number 42, side by side with Travis Browder and Donald Stewart. Down there on that inside lane, third truck in line is Jim Brown. I do believe he is driving the Max Mount Chevy Silverado. Big shout out there to Jim Brown, currently sitting in 5th position. Big shout out to the fans out there as well. Becky Whitmer out there on that KMA TV chat along with Chris Shaw. Chris Shaw was supposed to join us out here tonight, but unfortunately having a few engine difficulties within his racing rig. Unfortunately not able to get out here tonight onto the track and get everything worked out, but he is out there on that KMA TV chat rooting on his teammates. Travis Browder down to that inside lane in front of Richard Brose. Now tonight, ladies and gentlemen, as we do progress around this 2.66 mile speedway, we're going to be showing you a lot of pretty slick camera angles out here. Cody is going to take us inside that car. Cody is going to take us down onto that right front and left front suspension. Cody's going to put your nose right there on the pavement and onto the rear end of the Chevy Silverados and these Toyota Tundras. We're going to have you up there in the sky from Blip Cam and down on the ground with the bumper cameras. You're going to be seeing a lot of great racing out here tonight in the monthly Race for Pad 266 extra broadcast out there tonight. We'll be doing it again on the first Sunday coming up in May.
Yeah, definitely can't wait for that broadcast to come around too. It's just, these pad races, they're so eventful and awesome to watch just because you can sit back, relax, enjoy what we have to offer, and then, you know, the drivers always try their best because the opponents are such a great cause to run for. So, you know, with Pad being Pad, they are growing every single day. That you saw them on TV the other day, and I see their signs out everywhere now. So, Pad is such a growing organization. It's just great for the drivers and good to start getting the name out there.
Jumping back, taking a look at the number 5 of Gary Whitmer side by side with J.R. Johnson. Now that's pretty cool. We saw these are 3 of these pad trucks out here tonight. We can see Donald Stewart up there in the Angels Never Die Chevy Silverado, and right now we're looking at Gary Whitmer and J.R. Johnson, both drivers sporting that exact same paint job. And I'll tell you what, as a painter, that has got to be pretty cool to see your truck out here on that track. Gary Whitmer qualified in tonight at 9th, got a fast lap in of a 49.066, currently sitting in 13th place side by side with J.R. Johnson. J.R. Johnson currently in 12th, started out 15th position. I do want to jump forward though, and I do want to take a close look at that max mount being driven by James Brown in the 00. Big shot out there too. Max mount in association with Pad and KMA Racing, bringing you the monthly pad race out here. Great looking max mount Chevy Silverado. Currently James Brown is in 6th position with a fast lap of the 49.231. Side by side though, he is side by side with another Pad logoed truck up there being driven by, I do believe that is the number 66 of Edward Bray. Sharp looking paint job right there. KMA Racing and Black Talon. Edward Bray out here tonight in 9th position. Caution will be out. Backing it up, looking at the number 4. Appears that the number 4 got a little bit wiggly right there and just took a left turn down there onto the number 24. The number 4 being driven by Matt Burkhart. Back those cameras up, Cody, and walk us through what we're looking at with the number 4 of Matt Burkhart making contact with James Brown.
Yeah, I pretty well saw the same thing you did, Scott. There was Matt. I think he may have gotten bumped down there a little bit, maybe a little bit of a bumper hook shuffle sort of thing. Not sure if he may have caught Edward Bray, or maybe he thought that he could go down a little bit further than what he thought. Either way, it took out quite a few good drivers there. Matt Burkhart ended up just barely coming down, tagging the rear end of James O'Brown, and ended up catching the front end of the 24 truck as well.
Unfortunately, the number 5 of Gary Whitmer getting a bit of a rear end collision from the number 84 of Len McNeese, sending him into the wall. Now, these drivers do have a backup vehicle, so Gary Whitmer will definitely be going there into pit row and getting a backup vehicle as we are underneath our first caution. A little bit of an early caution, and I'll tell you, Cody, looking at that with Matt, I can't say that was driver error. I do believe that might have been a mechanical issue because he did take an extremely hard left turn right there.
That's what I'm thinking, is if he didn't get bumped, then it could have been netcode. That netcode usually causes quite a few issues for us, so not surprised that something like that would happen right now, just because there's usually a good chance of that happening pretty early on. Internet issues and connections.
It does happen. Hey, joining us in the booth, I have Alan Larson up here in the booth with us. How are you doing, Alan? Alan Larson, have you got a copy, sir?
Can you hear me?
There you are. How are you doing?
Hey, we're doing great here, Scott. How you doing?
Doing good. Underneath this early caution, wanted to make sure that I got a talk in with Alan Larson with Max Mount, so you could tell us all about Max Mount.
Well, Max Mount is very proud to partner with PAD and keep America hands-free with a hands-free cellular device, dash mount, that holds your cell phone securely. I know the ultimate goal is to keep everybody off the phones while they drive, but you know that it's not going to be 100% achievable. So we want to do the best we can to keep it as safe as we can out there.
All righty. Now, where can we go out there and find more information about Max Mount?
You can go to www.maxmount.com. You can also check us out on Facebook.
All righty. Now, you are not in tonight's race. You're here rooting on some drivers. Talk to me a little bit about the drivers that you are up there working with. I saw James Brown took a pretty bad hit right there. Is he okay?
Yeah, he's going to have to get out his backup truck, but I think he'll be all right. Everett Lane there, he was just ahead of all that. Hopefully he scathed through it. And them are the two main Max Mount drivers, but then we got Joel Guy out there running a Max Mount scheme too, and he's supporting us, and we appreciate that as well.
Alrighty, a lot of support out there for Max Mount and a lot of support out there for Pad. Appreciate all you do for Pad. Good to see you up here.
All right, thanks, Scott.
And that was Alan Larson with Max Mount. Looking at a quick race summary, we've got Edward Brea up there on front. Richard Brose will be sitting in second position. Travis Browder in third. Going to get a quick interview in here with my good friend Tebow. How about it, Mr. Travis Browder? How are you, sir?
Hey, Scott, do you hear me? How are
I
you?
hear you. I hear you, sir. How's your race going out here tonight?
It's going really good so far. Hopefully, we'll get some green flag pit stops, and we'll see what happens. I'm looking forward to tonight's pad race.
Little bit of an early caution out here. It was kind of weird when the number 4 just took a left turn. Was there any chit chat down there in the channel about what may have happened with that? It just did not look right. A blowout, maybe?
Something happened back there in the middle of that group, but I'm not in their channel. I'm hanging out with all my Max V drivers tonight, Scott.
All righty, copy that. Now, speaking of Max V, who are you out here running with tonight?
Richie B, Michael Johnson, Chris Boyles, and Matt Burkhart, and Steve Dukes. I believe that's all we have for Max V for tonight.
And I see by looking at the tailgate of your vehicle there and onto the back lid of it that you're a big supporter of PAD. Talk to us about your thoughts about PAD.
People against distracted driving, Scott. I'm going to give a big shout out to Mike Kaleni for PAD. Got to be focused on the road 100% of the time. Never text or anything while you're driving.
Alrighty, copy that. Very good advice here, Travis Browder. I see you pulling in pit row, so I'm going to let you go, brother.
All right, thank you, Scott. Have fun.
Travis Browder into pit row. Edward Brea opting to stay out, possibly doing a little bit of a strategy here. Let's find out. How about it, Edward Brea? Have you got a copy, sir?
How's it going, Scott?
Doing good. You're out there all by yourself, deciding not to go there into pit row with a few other drivers. You're looking very sharp out there in the Black Talon, showing your support for PAD. Tell me anything you want to tell me.
Well, I mean, we didn't go that many laps, and did this once before, and figure I'd stay out and see what happens. I mean, pit strategy is where we win the races at.
Copy that. Absolutely right. Talk to me very briefly about Black Talon.
Black Talon is a sub-team underneath KMA Racing League that involves myself and Lee Staples.
Alrighty, you're looking very sharp out there, and that paint job was painted by?
Myself.
Yourself. All right, looking very sharp out there. Good luck to you tonight, Edward.
Thanks, Scott.
Edward Brea out there showing his support for PAD side by side with the number 78. Great looking truck, that number 78. Picture of Nicky up there on the hood of it. Another driver I want to give a shout out there to is Greg McClendon. He was right behind number 78 of Donald Stewart. He is our Friday night sponsor, Blaze Pizza. Big shout out there to Blaze Pizza. Greg McClendon right now sitting back there in position 4. He started 17th, actually up to position 5, side by side with the number 19 of Danny Rudy. Greg McClendon with a fast lap at 48.920, getting ready to go back to Green Flag Racing in the Racing Pad 266. Edward Brea, just got a slight truck length there in front of Donald. Donald pulling her up a little bit tighter, coming around the dog leg, getting ready to go back to Green Flag Racing.
is out. Edward Gray's off to a pretty good start, but Donald Stewart not letting him pull too far out or too far ahead. Still pushing Edward really hard right now, going through turn 1 and 2. Looks like Estill is just ready to go and ready to get flying, as they both are just about clear of the first car on the outside line, Donald Stewart.
That outside lane, though, beginning to hook up. The number 211 of Tristan Beats all over the rear end of Greg McClendon. Greg McClendon all over the rear end of the purple pad, being driven by the number 78 of Donald Stewart. A little bit of a separation there now between Tristan and Blaze Pizza, number 20. Drivers remaining double file. Right now, that is about the best thing to do. They have got to consider the long haul, looking for some green flag pit stops out here tonight. The green flag window for fuel will be sitting at about 30 to 32 laps. Looking at the number 19, though, Danny Rudy, looking like he's getting a lot of wind resistance off of that draft off with the number 42, rocking that Chevy Silverado from that yellow line up to that white line. Looking just a hair bit wiggly in that draft. Talk to me about the power of that draft, Cody.
That draft is very intense, as we got a car around Donald Stewart. You guys watched that pretty well live right there. That was, man, unfortunate break for them.
Well, Cody, we were looking at the number 19. I guess maybe I just saw that coming. But going back and looking at it on that KMA TV replay, it appears that the number 19 drifted up a little bit. I'm looking at the moment, the way the tires there are coming up onto that white line. Oftentimes these things are hard to tell, but unfortunately, Danny Rudy, I do believe, did drift up there into the number 78, and that will involve the number 211 of Tristan Beats. The number 48 barely slipping by, the number 48 driven by Steve Dutz, barely slipping by, but he is going to have a little bit of damage.
Yeah, as we were able to watch on the broadcast right there, that was it was a little bit of net code. In fact, there was about a good 3 to 4 inches between the trucks. Should have been able to be missed, but unfortunate break, it was not. So very sad to see the net code ended up taking one for sure early on.
Well, it does happen out here, and again, I've mentioned this repeatedly. This is a super speedway, and the draft out there, the power of these Chevy Silverados out here, a lot going on as we're watching Estill and Greg McClendon pulling there into pit row. James Brown opting to stay out. That'll give us a chance to talk to James Brown. How about it, Mr. James Brown?
Well, good evening, Scott.
How are you doing out here tonight? Are you still alive?
I'm still alive, running in a little bad luck, but the Max Mount crew is putting it back together and got me back out.
Alrighty, you're looking very sharp out there. Now, I do understand that there's going to be a bit of a reward, a gift out there for tonight's winner, brought to you by Cora. Can you tell us about that and a little bit about Cora?
Yes, sir. Cora Championship Online Racing Association will be giving a hat to the winner tonight. And Cora is known for its Sunday Money League, or Sunday Money Series, and we'll be cranking that back up this fall. It's a money series.
Alrighty, and what kind of racing are we looking at over there? Road racing, dirt tracking? What do you do over there with Cora?
No, sir. It's going to be a super speedway series. 3 cars and 2 different tracks, and it'll be a 12-race season with, I think, 4 races in the chase.
Alrighty, sounds like a lot of fun, and I'm sure I'll talk to you again before the week's out, and we'll get a little bit more information about that as that series does draw closer. Good luck to you tonight, James.
Thank you, Scott. Good luck to KMA TV.
Thank you, sir. James Brown out there with Max Mount. One more quick driver interview. I'm telling you what, Cody, we're going to get an interview in with all of these guys here with Max Mount. How about it, Everett Lane? Have you got a copy?
Sure do, Scott. How you doing, buddy?
Doing very good. You, sir, out there looking very sharp with the max mount. You're in the red and white version, and your buddy up there, James, in front of you, he's in the black version. Talk to me a little bit about your night out here, and well, what it's going to take. 2 early cautions. What's going on out here?
Well, it's a little early in the race. People are getting a little excited and getting going here, but gotta have a little lady luck out on these super speedways. If you ain't got luck, you're not going to make it to the checkered flag. We all know that. But the 24 max mount Chevy Silverado is running pretty good tonight. We'll try to keep her up front and keep her out of the mess back there.
All right, copy that. Anybody you want to give shout outs to? You got friends or family out there rooting you on tonight?
I want to give a shout out to Alan Larson and James Old Brown. They got me in this truck tonight. See if we can put it up in the winner's circle tonight. See what happens.
All right, looking very sharp out there with those purple numbers and those purple rims. Doing good out there, Everett.
Thank you, Scott. Thank you, Cody.
Thank you.
A little bit of information out there for the folks. Cody, now I know you do this. You know this. The signification there with the purple. Purple was Nikki Clenny's favorite color. So we always encourage these drivers not only to put on the pad logos, and we've got a bunch of them pad logos out there to put on these trucks, all the vehicles, a lot of the signs, a lot of the flyers, but purple rims is another way that these drivers out here can send a signal out there about pad, and we call that purple pride. Always good to see the drivers out here flying their colors in the race for pad. We'll have time for one more quick driver interview. I'll tell you what, Cody, our main objective tonight is to give exposure for pad and for max mount. So we've talked to all the other max mount paint jobs. Let's talk to one more. How about it? Number 91, Joel Guy.
How you doing tonight, Scott?
I'm doing very good. Very happy to see you out there looking sharp in that max mount Chevy Silverado. Talk to me a little bit about your night. You're hanging out here in the back. You started 26th. You're currently up into 11th. 2 early cautions. What's on your mind right now? We've barely gotten these engines heated up.
On my mind is survival, trying to stay out of trouble, and just hang loose until the last of the race, and then race at the last 10 laps. Go for it.
Alrighty, copy that. I spent a lot of time up here giving shout outs to a lot of our sponsors and a lot of our videographers like GW Graphics and painters like Gearhead. I also want to give you a shout out, sir. I call you Joel Guy Incorporated. You are my tech guy. You are our tech guy. So I want to thank you for everything that you have done to help Cody and myself get KMA TV up and running. We're still working through a few difficulties. We're going to have to do some hardware upgrades over the next couple of weeks. And I know you're going to be there guiding us through. So thank you, Joel Guy, for all you do for us.
No problem, Scott. Glad to do it. And y'all have a good broadcast. I do want to put out a word to people to definitely pay attention to what we're doing tonight, which is for pad. Do not text and drive. It is dangerous and you can kill someone.
Alrighty, copy that. Good luck to you tonight, Joel Guy.
Thank you, Scott.
Getting ready to go back to green flag racing here on lap 15. Jim Brown up in front, side by side with the number 24 of Everett Lane.
Yeah, James and Everett, they're usually pretty evenly matched, even thought process wise, so James can pretty well do anything he wants, and Everett more than likely is going to match him just because those two are such great drivers. Green flag is out, they're back under racing.
Number 87, Richard Brose, all over the rear end of James Brown into that inside lane.
Just seems like that inside lane just gets off to such great starts and such great jumps, and it's not even the leaders that are jumping, it's more or less the second truck in line. So as Steve Dutz is now able to get back up, hooked up with Everett Lane, now they're going towards the front.
Outside lane starting to motivate. Very early on, for any drivers to be thinking about that 3 wide, so far so good. Nobody is looking for that 3 wide situation here on lap 16. Drivers are staying single file. This will give us a chance to get back there towards the rear of the pack and check in with a few drivers out there in the rear. Taking a look at the number 72 of Ivan Garcia. Ivan Garcia out here tonight showing his support for Pad as well. Very sharp looking truck right there, being driven by Ivan Garcia. Brought to you by Over the Top Paints and Design. I really like the rear end. It's kind of a camouflage rear end on the Chevy Silverado with the bright orange Pad lettering right there. Big shout out there to Ivan Garcia showing his support out here for Pad.
I always love the blaze orange color with the camouflage. It's always a great look and detail to it.
Ivan Garcia, great driver out here. One of our older drivers, our long-standing members. Always enjoy talking to Ivan Garcia, firm believer in Pad. Jumping up, taking a look at Ronald Klein. Ronald Klein in the number 76. Pretty sharp looking paint job right there being driven by Ronald Klein as he does come around the number 37 of J.R. Johnson. RTK Motorsports showing his support for Pad with the World logo there, right there underneath the fuel station on the left rear quarter panel. Lap 19 of 100. 81 laps to go. 8 lead changes, 2 cautions, totaling out 7 laps. Everett completely in control up there along with Richard Brose. Everett Lane currently leading 2 laps out here tonight. Only 8 lead changes. Now by this time, Cody, last night we had already had upwards of 15 to possibly 20 lead changes. A different attitude out here driving tonight with the Pad. Drivers trying to settle down into the long haul. Richard Brose moving up into that outer lane. Richard Brose, very familiar with that outside lane, would always like to be up in that high lane. He is a 3 wide kind of guy. Richard Brose does not like the action down there onto that inside lane.
Yeah, he always works his best when he's in that third line. Usually when he's in a crunch, I mean, that's just his perfect position because he can handle the pressure of being on that high line, and he still has the driving capability of maintaining his composure up in that third line.
And composure in that third line is extremely important. Drivers have got to make sure they do their best to stay very solid, but oftentimes when you get it up into the that draft, pull them on you pretty hard, and you will look a little bit wiggly squiggly. Travis Browder, third truck in line, doing a great job, but he has got the number 42 of Still hot on his heels, side by side with the number 20 of Greg McClendon and the number 4 of Matt Burkhardt. Good to see that Matt was able to get back out here and continuing on in the race for Pad.
It's always nice when the drivers make a little bit of extra effort to get out here. I know Matt was having some minor issues before the race, but it's always nice when he does end up coming out. When everybody ends up coming out, it's just a great feeling for everybody.
Pretty good camera shot right there involving J.R. Johnson and Donald Stewart. The 2 purple matching Pad trucks lined up there for position 15 and 16, Donald Stewart and the J.R. Johnson making their way up there to the front. Going to need to work their way around to the number 72 of Ivan Garcia. Or they just may take Ivan with him up there to the front, dropping him back. Going to check in with this little bitty second pack back here. We have got the number 5 of Gary Whitmer working on that outside lane side by side with Edward Bray. Danny Rudy down onto that inside lane, and it does appear that Gary Whitmer and Edward Bray are starting to make a little bit of time trying to work their way up there to the front, trying to grab onto the rear end draft of the number 78 of Donald Stewart. They are indeed making that outside lane work.
They're definitely making headway. They're gaining a good amount of time on the leaders, and they're just kind of passing cars on the high side as they want to. It's not really much of Edwards forcing the issue to Gary. It's not Gary trying to pull Ed too far along. It's just kind of the outside line is working for him. Gained about, I'd say, about 2/10 off the leaders the last lap.
Taking a look at Tristan Beets involved in an early caution. Now Tristan Beets has fallen one lap down, but certainly he's not hoping for a caution out here in the monthly pad race. But in order for him to get back onto that lead lap, well, that is exactly what the number 211 of Tristan Beets is going to need out here tonight. Tristan Beets driving the Drive for Diabetes.info Chevy Silverado. Nice looking paint job there. K&A Young Guns, the number 211 of Tristan Beets. Tristan Beets started out 16th position, currently now is in 20th position, but unfortunately one lap down. But if I know my good friend Tristan, he will be able to get it back underneath a caution. But there are guidelines there for that lucky dog, Cody. Talk to us about those guidelines on getting that lucky dog.
Well, since he is the only car one lap down, all he has to do is make sure that he does not get caught up in the next caution. That is saying that there will be one. So really, he's just got to hope there's caution and hope he avoids everything in it. Tristan usually does a great job at avoiding everything that he needs to avoid, so no major issues there. I would expect him back up in front before the end of this race.
Checking up here in the front, we've got Richard Brose out there in the front leading his 6th lap, racing along with the number 48 of Steve Dutz. Now we see Steve Dutz, he's another driver that we know pretty well out here. Young driver, sometimes a little bit over aggressive, but here on these super speedways, Cody, you're not going to win it if you don't get a little bit aggressive. Steve Dutz started 6th, currently in 3rd. So right now I think he's showing about the right amount of aggression. He's not worried about getting around number 24. He's not really concerned with getting around the number 87 of Richard Brose. Steve Dutz right now in a very good position. In fact, any of these drivers up here in the top 10, they're all in a good position. There's just no need to hurry or scurry this early into this long 100-lap race.
Caution is out, caution is out. That was a pretty big one there. I know the 24 of Everett Lane got caught up and involved in it, so we'll go ahead and take a look at what happened.
We're going to back that camera up, ladies and gentlemen. Matt Burkhart going for a spin for sure. I do believe that Everett definitely was involved in it. I'll tell you what, sometimes these things are pretty darn hard to tell, but that was a big, old, ugly caution right there. Walk us through it.
Alrighty, we saw the 48 of Steve Dutz. He was pushing on Everett Lane there in the 24, and it looked like Everett thought he was going to go low. He was planning on it, had the Richard Brose cleared, and then turned around and wasn't clear, so he turned right back up the hill and ended up getting spun up towards the wall, which ended up getting quite a few other drivers involved in that one.
We just absolutely hate when that happens, but contact there with the number 48 and the number 24, and that will trigger our 3rd caution of the night here on lap 27. Well, I'll tell you what, Cody, that would be a good time for us to go on and take our first commercial break.
Absolutely. And we are back. As we saw, the drivers did end up going into pit road, getting most of the vehicles fixed and back out there. A lucky break for Tristan Beats as he was able to get the wave by. Now we're back and getting ready to go to, I believe this should be 2 to green, so anything you really want to do, Scott?
Well, what we're going to do right now, Cody, is we are going to get a driver interview in here with Richard Brose, our current race leader. How about it, Richard? Have you got a copy?
Yeah, Scott, how are you today? Good night, Steve.
I'm good. Good to see you out here, Richie. Looking very sharp out there. You are up there on that P1 position. You started first. You're currently in first, and you have led the most laps. So I know that's got to be making you feel pretty good out there. Talk to me about how you're feeling.
First of all, getting the pole was, I'm not used to being there, but I kind of had it, for me, like a perfect lap for me. And Travis getting right up there, and right now I'm just trying to listen to strategy from my teammates and max velocity and trying to stay clean and up front. Usually you can, and hopefully there won't be any hooking. So far the people pushing me have been pushing me square enough to keep me straight, and maybe I'm just looking forward to the first green flag pit stop.
Alrighty, hoping to see those green flag pit stops out here tonight in the race for Pad. Now talk to me a little bit about Richie B's Pizza.
I can go for a slice of cheese right now with some fresh garlic and onion, to be honest with you right at this minute, because I'm quite hungry. But yeah, open Tuesday through Saturday right now, 11 to 3. I just love what I do, Scott. I'm very passionate about my business, as you are passionate about announcing races with KMA. And I'm very happy to be part of KMA and sponsor, and I will continue to do so.
Alrighty, copy that. Now, ladies and gentlemen, you heard it right there. We are going to be getting back to our Monday Night Mania series. We're still broadcasting on Monday. We've got 2 races left. We're still going to be broadcasting, but coming back first week of June, we're going to be resetting the Monday Night Mania series. So a big shout out there to Richard Brose being our Monday Night Mania sponsor. Good luck to you, Richie.
Thanks, Scott. Give it a shot. Give it a go. Thank you.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we do apologize for the sound difficulties out there. Big shout out there to Becky helping us out. That is the information that we do indeed need to know. Again, Cody, we're up here. We're the new kids on the block with the broadcasting. A lot of things out here to focus on. And I'll tell you what, got a lot of fans behind us. You have worked very hard this week in 3 broadcasts back to back. Tell us what it's like up there on those cameras.
It is probably one of the most difficult things I've ever had to do, sitting behind a computer screen, just because there is so much that needs to be done in such a short amount of time. I mean, I'm so glad that I don't have to do this all by myself. I don't know how you do it, the 2, 3, sometimes 4 nights a week that you do it. So I'm really glad that we can get in here and do what we need to do, but technical difficulties are definitely something that we need to work on, but I'm just glad that I get to sit back, relax, and do what I want to do.
Taking a quick look at our running order, we've got Richard Brose, James Brown, Donald Stewart, Travis Browder, Estelle Fields in 5th, Harry Dodd, Len McNeese, Matt Burkhart, Tristan Beats, and Ronald Klein rounding out our top 10. Getting ready to go back to Green Flag Racing here in the race for Pad 266.
Definitely ready and set to go back to Green Flag Racing. Going to have to see if we can get back into a good solid rhythm and hope that we can get into a green flag pit stop or 2. We are definitely looking forward to what's going to happen this week as time is going to go through, hoping that everything, all those little bugs can be worked out. The pace car is off and we are getting ready to go back to Green Flag Racing.
Huge gap up on that outside lane there between the number 78, Donald Stewart, and the number 87, Richard Brose. Now, we saw this happen last night, Cody. That's going to come back and bite Richie B in the old pizza can. It'll be interesting to see here if Donald and the number 42 go around him. There's a rule out here about no 3 wide to the back stretch, so they are following those rules and are going to get hooked up onto the rear end of the number 87, Richard Brose. But out there on that inside lane is Travis Browder and James Brown making things happen.
And the inside lane definitely got a good jump, got a good start. Not positive, but my results are showing that Richard should have been starting on the inside. Not positive, but then again, that results do make mistakes a lot of times, so it could have been that he was on the outside.
Well, I did notice that on that start, usually here with iRacing, it puts first place down on the inside lane, which Rose was on the outside lane. Now, talk to me about that position, though, Cody. Do you prefer to be on the in or the out there on the restarts?
Really, it all depends on who's pushing me. I mean, I'm not sure if Richard was more comfortable with Donald, or maybe he just didn't like the way that James got his jumps or got his starts or something like that. Caution is out. Caution is out, and I am trying to find the replay, but I'm not seeing any slow vehicles, so not positive on what happened.
You know, Cody, I am thoroughly confused here as well. I am not seeing anything that would have triggered that caution. You know, usually there are certain things that will trigger it, so right now I am not seeing anything that would have triggered out that caution time. We had a few drivers there in pit row. You know, Ivan Garcia and Michael Johnson were in pit row at the time that it did come out. Danny Rudy was in pit row at the time it came out, but I am absolutely clueless as to what did spring what is our next caution of the night.
Interestingly enough, I think I may have made a mistake there. I don't know why the lights were on. Maybe there's something wrong with the.
Oh, and yeah, we were wrong, Cody. We had a glitch there ourselves. I think we both had a momentary screen glitch right there, but we still are under green flag back here up in the front. It's still Phils and Donald Stewart. Well, that was just kind of weird, Cody. That explains why we could not find that caution, because there was not a caution to find.
Very true. Not sure what happened. You know, those technical difficulties, those glitches that we were talking about earlier, they do happen just about in any of the weirdest places you can think of. And random lights showing up on top of the bars and caution being screamed at my ears. That's usually one of the stranger ones I've had so far.
Well, we're going to encounter a lot keeping up here with the front. We've got Lynn McNeese. Lynn McNeese started out here in 11th position. Right now he currently is in second, side by side with the number 42 of Estelle, being pushed on by the number 24, Everett Lane, I do believe. That is indeed Everett Lane, but Everett Lane is one lap down. Now, very interesting situation right here. Everett Lane needs to get up in front of, well, it doesn't matter which lane, but he does indeed need to get up there in front. Everett Lane is second in position on the inside lane, outside lane, but he is in 17th position, one lap down, trying to stay ahead of the number 20 of Greg McClendon, who is one lap down as well, but Greg is further back in that pack, so a lot of pressure right now on Everett.
A lot of pressure on a lot of these guys right now just to try to maintain where they're at and make sure that the caution does not fly. So, I mean, Glenn is doing a great job just holding and maintaining the outside line, but at the same time, Matt Burkhart is trying to continue to push Everett and Len up to the front of the pack.
Great looking paint jobs out here. We are on lap 36 of 164 to go. 19 lead changes. 3 cautions totaling 8 laps in the race 4 pad. Sharp looking truck out there being driven by the number 78 of Donald Stewart. James Brown back in position 7 in the max mount. Working along with his good friend Travis Browder in the number 18. Richard Brose moving up into that outer lane. Travis Browder going to go side by side with James Brown here on lap 37.
That outside line definitely seems to have a lot of momentum and a lot of speed going to it. So, I mean, there's so much that these trucks can handle and so much that these trucks can do. It's just amazing to see how well these drivers are able to push with such little power and such big holes to punch in the air. It's awesome to see the amount of draft that they have to work with.
Estelle Fields working with the number 4 of Matt Burkhart. Side by side with Everett and Richie and Travis. Inside lane being the preferred lane for this front pack. Well, let's drop back into that back pack. Check in with a couple of other drivers we're looking at. Edward Bray and Gary Whitmer Jr. Edward Bray sitting in position 11. And Gary Whitmer sitting in position 12. And we've got Joel Guy in that party, as well as the number 20 of Greg McClendon. Greg McClendon, 1 lap down.
It's always nice when the lap down drivers are able to come out here and help out, even though, you know, the numbers may not be the same, but it's still awesome to see that the teamwork is still there and still workable.
Beautiful truck right there, being driven by Gary Whitmer. Good looking truck there being driven by Edward Bray as Gary puts the bumper to Edward Bray. Love that KMATV logo, love that pad logo, love the red outline on the number 66. Very sharp. Edward Bray, Black Talon Racing, supporting pad. Straight line formation for these 5 drivers being led by Edward Bray. Edward Gary, Joel, and the number 20 of Greg McClendon. Ivan Garcia back there as well, but Ivan Garcia opting to go side by side, trying to go side by side with the number 20 of Greg McClendon. Now, Cody, Ivan's got to be very careful here. He has not got a pusher. He is out here by himself, essentially, and if he loses a draft onto the rear end of the number 20, he's going to be in a little bit of a bind. Joel Guy going at the caution will be out this time. Backing it up, we're going to take a look at that. Oh, I'm seeing like a major 20, 30, 40 cars. Looking at the number 42 of Estelle Fields and the number 4 of Matt Burkhart. Matt Burkhart coming down. Well, goodness gracious. I do believe, Cody, that might be the second one on Matt Burkhart tonight. Nonetheless, the 42 going sideways. Len McNeese in the Old Smoky 84 taking a right-hand turn up into the Everett Lane. Well, unfortunately, that's going to send Everett Lane to the hauler for sure. Richard Brose getting collected, as well as the number 211 and the number 76, Jim Brown, getting collected in it as well. The big one has happened on lap 41 of 100. Talk to me, Cody.
Yeah, that was an unfortunate break for a lot of the drivers. It just seemed like the smallest of errors seemed to be creating some of the biggest cautions and some of the biggest wrecks tonight. So not positive on what's going on, but a very unfortunate break for a lot of the drivers out here.
Well, the best they can do at this point in time is get it into pit road, try to get it fixed up. A lot of drivers will be cycling in and out of pit row, whether they are damaged or undamaged. We are at lap 41, so we're going to be looking at some numbers here. Still hoping for those green flag pit stops. Now, Travis Browder opted not to go into pit row, staying up there tucked onto that pace car. He started second. He currently is in second.
Wouldn't be surprised if he takes over the lead after Matt Burkhart has to fix some of his damage. So be looking for Travis Browder to be recapturing the lead after, I believe it's been about 20 laps since he's led last.
Well, Travis Browder did end up opting to go on into pit row. Travis Browder in pit row getting service. It's a long drive when you're way up there into that second position box.
Yeah, but it's always nice because you have a pretty short drive out, so usually you're able to get in and then get service and get back out well in time for you to just smash the gas and go.
Gary Whitmer in pit row, as well as Matt and Lynn McNeese. Gary Whitmer beginning to pull his way out of pit row. As soon as Gary does get stabilized, I'm going to get in a chat with Gary Whitmer, and we're going to learn a little bit about this Walk with Pad coming up next Saturday. How about it? Gary Whitmer, have you got a copy?
I got you, Scott.
Alrighty, seeing you got caught up in that one there. I see you went into pit road, got a brand new truck. You're looking very sharp out there in the Pad purple Chevy Silverado. Talk to me about the Walk with Pad coming up next Saturday.
Next Saturday, April 15th, is the 5th anniversary of Nikki. They're doing a Walk with Pad in New Jersey. I believe it's close to Blackwood, New Jersey. And this year I made reservations, so I'm going to be a part of it.
Alrighty, copy that. As far as your positioning out here right now in your race, you have no more backup vehicles, I'm going to assume. Is that correct?
Yeah, I have no more. Down to 0.
Now you're up here in the front then. What are you going to do? You're going to stay up here in the front? You're going to try to work out a pit strategy there with a couple of teammates? You got Edward and Joel and Ivan up there with you. What's on your mind?
I'm going to try to stay with teammates and see what we can do.
Alrighty, and finally, talk to me about GW Graphics.
And GW Graphics, I do video production, Scott, for commercials, special events, sponsors, and that sort of thing. Intros for KMA TV.
Alrighty, copy that. We appreciate everything you do out here for KMA TV. Good luck to you, Gary.
All right, thank you, Scott.
GW Graphics. Check him out on Facebook right now. Gary Whitmer is in position 3. Travis Browder, Edward Bray, position 1. A little bit of a long caution lap like this one we had last night, Cody. The drivers should be getting ready to go back to green flag racing. We are on lap 43 of 100. 57 to go. 22 lead changes, 4 cautions, totaling 9 laps of caution. So a little bit of a rough start out here, Cody.
Yeah, just a little bit. I mean, it was a little rough to start most of our races, but it usually ends up calming down as the race goes on and as everything just kind of thins out and settles out. You usually get some of the best, save for the last. So I'd expect the last half of this race to go extremely clean, and I'm hoping green flag from here on, just so that way we can see that green flag pit stop.
Time for one more very quick driver interview. How about it, Michael Johnson? Have you got a copy, sir?
10-4, Scott. How you doing tonight?
Doing very good. Good to see you out here tonight representing PAD. We're taking a walk around. Good to see you have the Making a Difference PAD.org PAD logo back there on your rear end. Thank you, sir. Talk to us a little bit about your association with PAD.
Well, I got some personal issues that I've had in the past that's involved in distracted driving. Therefore, I've changed my ways. I've taken the PAD pledge. My phone is off. I'm in the glove box. I'm behind the wheel.
Alright, man.
I support PAD 100%. PAD.org, PADD.org, along with any other distracted driving websites out there.
Alrighty, good to see you out here, and good luck to you tonight, sir.
Thank you. You have a good night. Thank you for what you do.
In the background there, folks, you heard my good friend Edward Bray trying to encourage the field to take her down just a little bit of a notch here and there and get into some green flag racing. Edward Bray pulling double duty out here tonight, trying to run his own race up here in second place, but he's also encouraging the field, taking care of the field. A lot of things going out there on this track tonight, Cody. How about it, Cody?
My apologies, my microphone was off. There's always a lot of stuff that happens going on around here, including behind the scenes. Edward Bray does a great job of controlling the field and also controlling everything else for race control, and then also he ends up doing a great job on driving the truck and the cars as well. So he does a great job all the way around, and the behind the scenes work, I mean, everybody helps in and pitches in, but there's always a lot that happens, and it's always awesome when the drivers are able to pitch in and Edward is a great admin, great job done by him, and it's always awesome to see him come out here.
Pace car is in. Travis Browder side by side with Edward Bray, taking lap 45 of 100 in the race for pad 266. Travis holding steady, and away Travis goes. Big start there by Travis Browder and Edward Bray, leaving Gary Whitmer and Joel Guy with quite a bit of difference, especially Joel Guy. Joel Guy needs to be getting it up there to the rear end of Edward Bray, the number 19, Danny Rudy, trying to come to help. But that inside lane, number 42 going up. What a move right there by the number 42 is Steele Fields. He's going to get up there tucked on to the rear end of Edward Bray.
Great job by Estelle to jump up and take over the position. He did a wonderful job just making sure that he was clear, and really now he's able to fight side by side with a lot of the other leaders.
Now, Cody, you've got some pretty interesting camera angles you're working with out there. Take us for a ride inside one of these drivers' vehicles. The Char fans, the many things that they have to pay attention when you are nose to tail at 192 miles per hour.
Absolutely, I'll take you in for the gyro cam here. These are some of the G's that these drivers are being put under as they're going through the corner at 33 degrees of banking, 200 plus miles per hour. So it's always awesome to take a look inside the car and be able to see what everybody else is looking at. Joel Guy right now doing a great job maintaining that high line, keeping his wheel as steady as possible. And even inside the cockpit, you're able to see some of the gauges up in front of him, the water temp and the oil temp, the oil pressure, making sure all of those lights are okay and everything is not flashing, not blinking. Because, you know, the warning lights, as soon as they kick on, you got to do something to try to prevent it from, well, killing the motor.
3 wide action developing mid-pack. Driver up there on that wall getting a little bit out of rotation. Number 42 of Estelle Fields up there on that third lane by himself, not getting a whole lot of love up there. Going to be needing to drop down as soon as he possibly can, but his momentum, if the driver does not check up for him, I think he is in danger of losing that pack. I think right now he should be going up. He's just a little bit closer to the rear end of the number 19. I'd be going up trying to grab onto that driver, but it looks like he's okay. He's okay right now. He's got that draft, and there he did. He did go up to the 19. Do I know my drivers or what?
You certainly do, Scott, and it's always awesome when there's plenty of teamwork that's happening out there. Not sure why everybody's deciding to go single file right now. I mean, it is one of those situations and times where you kind of want to sit back, relax, and ride for a couple dozen laps until everything gets situated out. Maybe get a green flag pit stop in, and then hit your go time mark and really start driving high.
I am looking at the 004 of Michael Johnson. What do I want to look at, Cody? I want to look at that left front suspension. And while we're looking at that, talk to us about the relationship between that left front tire and that yellow line here at Daytona, or Talladega.
Yeah, certainly Talladega. A little less dangerous than Daytona, like you mentioned, but you are able to dip that tire down below that yellow line, but you usually don't want to do it anything more than maybe a couple of inches, which is why it fascinates me on how well these drivers get to know how their vehicle changes from day to day, because I believe it was 2 nights ago we were driving in the Xfinity class. The last 2 nights we've been driving in the truck, so these drivers do a great job on knowing where that line is, on where their truck is in the circuit and on the track. So it's awesome to see on how close they can get to that yellow line and how close they can push themselves to the brink of danger and braking, and yet they still can maintain so much composure and control. So, you know, if you get within a foot of that line, it's usually pretty good. Now, a lot of these drivers will keep it maybe 3 to 4 inches off of that line, just, you know, in the corner, so that way they can maintain the speed and maintain the rotation of the car. But it's just amazing to see. As you can see, Michael Johnson right on that yellow line. I mean, he is literally moving the wheel maybe less than 1/10 of a degree, and it's changing the car's position 2 to 3 inches. It's awesome to see and awesome to look at. Really glad I've got this camera angle. In fact, it's awesome that iRacing was able to throw these camera angles in there just to specifically show you how that suspension worked and how that tire is able to close in and close down to the yellow line.
Great information right there. Taking a quick glance at our current running order. We got Edward Bray out there in the front, Travis Browder, P2 at the moment. Gary Whitmer holding very solid in position 3. Ivan Garcia in 4th, and Greg McClendon sitting in P5. Michael Johnson, Joe Guy, Tristan Beats, Danny Rudy, and Estelle Fields rounding out our top 10. We are in the monthly race for PAD. We're on lap 51 of 149 laps to go. 23 lead changes, 4 cautions totaling out 10 laps. Edward Bray right now leading 14 of these laps out here. Richard Brose with leading 40, but unfortunately Richard Brose heavily damaged in that last caution, having to take it to the hauler, as well as Donald Stewart, Lynn McNeese, Everett Lane, J.R. Johnson, and Steve Dutz. Unfortunate break for those drivers.
Yeah, it's definitely disappointing to see when drivers end up having to break down and just, instead of keeping it in pit road, they've got to get out of their cars, get out of their trucks, and walk away for the evening. But, you know, sometimes it is nice to sit back and relax. Greg McClendon getting a little low on that yellow line there in the triable.
Greg McClendon running the Blaze Pizza. Good pizza out there, Blaze Pizza. Unfortunately, our other pizza guy taking her home for the night, but a big shout out there to Richard Brose, our Monday night sponsor. Greg McClendon, our Friday night sponsor. A couple of special events, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to be having coming up here at KMA TV. Next Saturday night on the 15th, we're going to be having a suicide awareness race. It's a struggling problem within our society, and oftentimes a lot of people just don't like to talk about it. It's a problem that a lot of people will be dealing with. You might know someone. We actually have 2 of our iRacing mates that have had to deal with that situation of suicide within their personal lives. So next Saturday, we're going to do 100 laps out here for suicide awareness, and then on Sunday we're going to have a double-header weekend. We're going to be doing a race for autism awareness, and that race will be brought to you by Gearhead Paint Shop, Ted Immenheiser, and we're going to be doing the Auto Club 101, and that will be the drive for awareness of autism. So a lot going on next weekend, Cody. You're going to be pretty busy.
Oh, I'm always pretty busy. It's always awesome when I can get out there and do a little bit of extra. Ooh, we got a little bit of side-by-side action there with the 19 of Danny Rudy, almost getting into the 91 of Joel Guy and the 42 of Estelle Fields. Not sure if you caught that one, Scott, but we definitely did here on broadcast on the chat over here. So that was a tight maneuver there. Almost ended very badly.
Drivers are staying very single file at the moment. A little bit of double file action there between Danny and Joel. Danny racing pretty hard on that outside lane, the number 42. Estelle Fields coming up to try to get Danny going on that outside lane, but for the most part up here, it's just single file. Good job to Edward for getting these drivers settled down, and at this point in time, we should be thinking about some green flag pit stops. They should have enough to get to that window, I do believe.
We'll definitely be closing in on it really, really shortly within the next 12 laps. Danny Rudy up high. We got wrecking going
Contact.
on in the back.
We did see Danny Rudy. Wow, that was crazy stuff right there, Cody. But Danny Rudy getting a little bit of a turn there from the number 42. 42 into the wall. As the 42 came into the wall, the number, the green and black feller, that's the number 27, I do believe. He took a left turn there into the number 91 of Joel Guy. Unfortunate break there for Joel Guy, as the number 42 escapes unharmed. Ooh, bummer right there, Cody.
Yeah, a big bummer for the drivers in the back of the pack. Now, nobody in front got majorly damaged, so, I mean, lucky for them. Either way it goes, disappointing to see those 3 trucks out there get tangled up in something like that.
Edward Bray catching up to the pace car along with Travis Browder. Now, last week, let's see, it was the week before last, Edward pushed Travis to a win. It was last week, Travis pushed Edward for a win. And here they are sitting here, 1 and 2, just past the halfway point. This could be another Edward Bray, Travis Browder combination going on out here.
You know, those 2 drivers, they fight so hard to try to get every position they possibly can, but they're probably 2 of the nicest people you'll ever meet when it comes down to, you know, just seeing them in their normal state, in where they're not actually trying to compete. I mean, they've got such a great competitive nature, yet even when they're trying to be competitive, they can be so friendly and so genuine at the same time. It's awesome to see those drivers fight side by side together.
Pit row action. Unfortunately, it is under caution, but nonetheless, it is pit row action. Travis Browder out there on the second place position. He's going to lose a few spots here in the pit road, taking tires all the way around. Edward Bray will pull out in first place. Gary Whitmer Jr. up to second place. Ivan Garcia in third position. Greg McClendon sitting in fourth, and Tristan Beats back there in position 5. We are on 58 of 142 to go. 23 lead changes underneath. Our 5th caution in the race for pad 266. Going to take a quick second here to talk to one of our drivers. How about it, Greg? Have you got a copy, sir?
Yes, Scott. Go ahead, buddy.
All right, a little bit of a rough night out here for a few, but you are looking pretty good out here tonight, moving your way up there into position 4, starting back there at 17th. But what's going on? We're running a little bit thick on the cautions. What's the attitude down there at this 2.66 mile speedway?
Well, at this point, Scott, I'm just trying to practice what's been preached on these special nights here against distracted driving. My total focus has been nothing clearer than what's going on the racetrack. It gives me time to avoid anything that needs to be avoided, and try to keep my truck as clean as possible. I would feel very strongly about parents against distracted driving. My apologies. As well as my sponsor as well, Blaze Pizza. But it's all about pad and getting this message out, because apparently people are not getting it, and we need to be a little stronger about how we get this message out, because it's still taking lives, and people just, you know, we are heavily reliant upon our phones for a lot of reasons, but at the same time, it can still wait.
Alrighty, I tell you what, you have said a lot right there. I thank you for those kind words out there, and glad to have you on board here with KMA and PAD. Good luck to you tonight, Greg.
Thanks, Scott. I really appreciate it for everything that KMA does, and Parents Against Distracted Driving. Just what it's all about here tonight, and keeping total focus on what needs to be happening on the racetrack. Is total focus.
Alrighty, good job, Greg.
Thanks, Scott.
We can get one more quick interview in with the number 42, Estelle Fields. How about it, Estelle? Have you got a copy, sir?
Yeah, I'm here. What's up, Scott?
All right, I want to check in with you tonight. You're currently back there in 7th place, but I was more so actually glancing at your truck going to get a look at the bed of it. That is pretty sharp. Talk to me about that paint job.
Well, I've been active duty in the Air Force for about 20 and a half years now, and I wanted to do something to recognize my military roots, and thought I'd go with an old bomber style pinup girl to put it on the truck there.
Looking very sharp. NASCAR there on the fin. Miss Bennett. What's the name on the hood? Miss Benevini? Misbehaving.
Misbehaving.
I got that. All righty, Cody, get a shot of that hood right there, brother. All right, now talk to me about your race, though. We're running a little thick on the cautions tonight. We are getting down there to go time. What's your plan of attack here on out?
Well, right now I'm going to try to hook up with some good drivers out here and see if I can't work my way up in the front and make my move in the last few laps there.
All righty, sounds like you are the man with the plan. All right, good luck to you still.
Thanks, Scott. Good luck, everybody.
Sharp looking truck right there, Cody.
I always love it when the drivers are able to come out and show their support just through doing their own paint schemes. I mean, it's, you know, all these professional grade paint schemes are awesome, and then you get stuff like this. It looks just so perfect and it fits so well, and yet it's all personalized. It's 100% him. It's always awesome to see that kind of stuff.
Now, unfortunately, Cody, this field has shrank down considerably. A couple of really bad cautions out there. We've still got Harry Dodd back there 2 laps down in position 10. Top 9 are on the lead lap, running front to back. Edward Bray, Gary Whitmer Jr., Ivan Garcia, Greg McClendon, Tristan Beats, Travis Browder, Estelle, Joel Guy, Michael Johnson, and Harry Dodd in 10th position. Looking at 48 laps to go. Drivers still will need to get in and out of pit road. They can go in as early as 68, 69, but that's pushing it. It'll be interesting to see how these remaining 8 drivers work it out tonight.
Well, it's always awesome to see a good hard battle. Even with such few drivers, it still can be some of the more interesting racing. With some of the smaller packs, it just seems like everybody knows each other a little bit better, and you put a little bit more into trying to stick together. So it could be a lot of fun yet. I still believe there's still a lot of fight left in the field, so definitely be prepared for a lot of 2-wide action yet.
Edward Bray side by side with Gary Whitmer Jr., Ivan Garcia side by side with Greg McClendon, and away we go, ladies and gentlemen, taking lap 61 of 100 in the race for pad 266. Now, I would love nothing more right now than to see Gary Whitmer Jr. win this race. I mean, I want everybody to win, but to get the number 5 Nicky truck up there into pit road tonight, side by side with Edward Bray there, showing his support along with Ivan Garcia. These 3 drivers have done outstanding work getting their trucks out here to represent pad. So I would really like to see a 1-2-3 here with Gary and Edward and Ivan.
I mean, it's 3 totally different paint schemes with such great great ownership behind them, and it's always awesome to see the pad logos up in front. And they may have been in the back for a little while, they may have been riding around, but they've definitely still got a lot of laps before we can just determine on who's going to be in victory lane. Still can't wait to see who ends up being that first truck there.
And that first truck will receive a ball cap from Cora Championship Online Racing Association with James Brown. Unfortunately, James Brown has had to retire and take it to the hauler tonight. Caught up in a few cautions out there tonight, and not being able to get it fixed and back onto the track through no fault of his own. Jim Brown, a very responsible driver, but this is a speedway. Right now we are looking at, let's count them up, I believe that's 9 trucks out here running straight line single file procession. I do believe at this point in time, Cody, some of these drivers are bound and determined that we're going to go green flag racing, at least until we get in and out of pit row.
I definitely would would hope so. I mean, these drivers have a very good chance of just staying straight line, stay the formation, don't jeopardize anything, just kind of continue doing what you're doing and ride. I mean, there's really no reason to push it 2 wide, no reason to push it 3 wide. I mean, you've got a small enough of a pack now where you can make the moves you need to do within the last 5 laps. No real big issues, no big problems. It should be a pretty constant and easy battle for him now.
Gary Whitmer, Edward Bray, Travis Browder, Greg McClendon lined up straight line and single file. Actually are pulling away from the second pack, being led by Tristan Beats side by side with Ivan Garcia. Now they have officially, I believe, lost the draft on this front pack. They're trying hard, desperately, to catch back onto that draft, Cody, but the back pack not quite as organized as these front 4 drivers.
Well, and that's just kind of because there was a little bit of a gap before, and then Ivan has a little bit of damage on his nose, so it kind of took them away, and little by little they just kind of fell off the back of the pack, which is why now Ivan kind of being left in the dust. Sad to see, but it does end up happening out here at Talladega when you don't have much for drafting help, and when you do have a damaged vehicle.
Now we're seeing these front 2, well, they are in position, 5th and 6th, where it looks like Tristan and Estelle are on the verge of catching up with these front 4, but I'm seeing a lot of gap right there between Michael Johnson and Joel Guy, and Michael has got to get tucked up. He is now finally getting tucked up, but it may be a little bit too late. The faster you go is very dependent upon how tightly you are tucked up, and that is exactly why, Cody, Estelle and Tristan, well, they're tighter than a hair in a biscuit right there, and they have caught the rear end of number 20 of Greg McClendon. Joel Guy, Michael Johnson, they might have that draft back.
They probably do have that draft back, but now it's going to be a matter of whether or not they try to take the position, or if they settle out and just try to maintain what they've got and where they're going to ride. As we do watch this progress, it is going to be a situation where if they do end up going high, if they do end up trying to make that double file work, it may end up hurting them in the long run, because it could cost them a little bit of extra fuel just burning through it, and it also could end up costing them a lot of time, just because that outside line, it burns through so much more than the inside line does.
Now talk to us about that tire wear out here. I'm pretty sure we're going to go caution-free from here on out. From the way I understand it, to get 2 tires takes no longer than just filling up your truck. It's that 3rd and 4th tire that costs you the time in pit row. Is it worth the time it's going to cost these drivers?
It is, but it isn't. I mean, in certain cases it is, in other cases it's not. If you know you're going to need a full tank of fuel to make it to the end, then 100%, yeah, go for the 2 tires. But if you think you might be even 1 gallon short of needing to fill it completely up, you might as well just uncheck those extra 2 tires, because more than likely you're within your 60 lap window at that point. So right now, I wouldn't be too concerned about it. If you got 4 tires the last time, or even 2 tires the last time, you should be fine. The truck should handle fine, and really there shouldn't be any problems with tire wear on the track, or really going through the corners, pushing up, anything like that. So right now, at this point in time, 2 tires is the way to go, unless you know for sure you're going to be fine on fuel for another extra 10 laps or so after you have to pit.
We are on lap 68 of 100. We should be coming down to some green flag pit stops in just a couple of laps here. These drivers are going to have to decide whether or not they're going to drain that tank, or whether they're going to go on into pit row and do what we refer to as a short pit. Now the problem is, Cody, everybody wants to win the race. So we're looking at the radio channel there. We know that Edward, Gary, Greg, Ivan, Joel, Tristan, Estelle, they're all on the same radio channel. So we're not quite sure how Edward Bray may convey the message to Greg McClendon or Tristan Beats that, hey, we're going to duck in on this lap and let's see if we can get in and out faster as a couple of guys. Or else what's going to happen is everybody's going to go into pit road at the same time and we're going to be right back where we are right now.
Well, the nice thing with this front pack, the way it's working right now, is Travis Crowder is on a separate communication channel, so it pretty well goes 2, then 4, and that's pretty much all that has to worry about pitting in, is those 6 drivers. So with the smaller pack being the way it is right now, you don't really have to worry about the driver, you know, too many drivers being in pit road, because 6 is a few too many, but it's still easy enough where you can make it work if one driver goes to the low side, one goes to the middle, one goes to the high side, and you just have 2 lines of that instead of trying to work out, alright, we're going to have 4 lanes instead of 3 just to try to make it work out properly.
Hoping to see some strategy starting to work out. Would like to see several rounds of green flag pit stops. Actually, they are within that pit window, but too early to tell if they're going to try to drain that tank. All right, ladies and gentlemen, this is the race for Pad 266. Big shout out there to Mike Clenny. Rest in peace, our fallen angel Nikki. Purple Pride out here tonight. Big shout out to all the painters that have put their time and energy painting up the Pad logos and the Pad trucks out here. We will be doing this again on the first Sunday of May.
Green flag pit stops are ensuing as we do have quite a few drivers going into pit lane. As Gary Whitmer is able to get slowed up enough, so that means the rest of the drivers should be clean and clear as they start pulling down through pit road.
Greg McClendon get a little bit of bump right there onto the rear end of the number 66 Edward Bray. Busy place there in pit road. Now, Cody, this year, Tristan Beats in trouble. No, Greg McClendon. Greg McClendon having some difficulties there in pit road, I do believe. Well, that's going to cost him. That is exactly what I was getting ready to say. Pit row will separate the men from the boys right now. Travis Browder, Gary Whitmer, Edward Bray pulling out of pit row. Tristan Beats, Joel Guy, hot on their tail.
Unfortunate break for a lot of those drivers that were not able to capture this green flag pit stop. Now, Travis Browder was able to get in and out of pit road pretty quick. I mean, his pit stop time was only about, well, it was actually a good full second faster than Edward Bray. So, you know, Edward Bray and Gary Whitmer. So, you know, he just ended up getting into his pit box just a little bit better than Edward and Gary. So that's why he ended up being able to come out in first place without any issues, no problems whatsoever.
Now, a couple of the drivers that were left out of that pit party, not on their toes, is Michael Johnson. He's showing currently in first position, but he just came out of the pit row. Ivan Garcia getting passed right now. He was in second, so Ivan Garcia will be falling back as they do also come around Michael Johnson down there on that apron. Michael and Ivan would be well advised right now to hook up. It looks like Ivan's just going to walk away from Michael Johnson. Michael Johnson needing Ivan Garcia very desperately. Appears that Ivan is going to drop back, but that will put Travis Browder, Gary Whitmer Jr., Edward Bray, Tristan Beats, and Joel Guy top 5 at the moment. And this could go easily green flag racing from here on out. So do these drivers right now, do they just want to go on and get into out here and have some fun? Do they want to stay single file for about another 20 laps and really start racing it up then, Cody? What do you think this driver's going to do out here?
I would definitely say that, you know, the best option for, you know, for green flag racing is probably to sit back, relax for another 10-15 laps, see what happens, give it some time, settle everything out, let everybody else who needs to fall off, and then just start racing it out. Really give it a good, 5-10 laps, even 15 really is usually a pretty solid number where you can race side by side really, really tight and be able to give a good chance for a win.
Good to see the number 91 still out here representing Max Mount. Joel Guy in the number 91 in position 5. Big shout out there to Max Mount. Big shout out to Pad. I do believe that all 5 of these top drivers out here tonight in one way, shape, or form are showing their support for Pad and Mike and Nikki Clenny, be it by purple rims or purple numbers or Max Mount or the Pad logos. Cody, since these drivers are doing so well, can we get some camera shots of some of these logos out here on these top 5 trucks?
Absolutely. I personally was working on quite a few of the camera angles and working on a little bit smoother of a connection, so it's always fun when I get to play around with my cameras just as much as anybody else does.
Lap 76 of 100, 24 to go. 5 cautions out here tonight. A little bit more of an interesting race than what we had that last night. I think yesterday we were up to about 8, possible 9 cautions. But we had a lot more drivers out there able to keep their trucks, keep their cars out here a little bit longer tonight. Unfortunately, we have had 2/3 of this field out here knocked down by not 2 but 3 absolute huge cautions.
Yeah, big cautions really being a major issue for a lot of the drivers up in the front fields, just because they were so big that they consumed the entire field without a moment's notice, and then all of a sudden it turned around and ended up being that it just ended up making a lot of drivers have to pay for it. It was unfortunate, but at the same time it did clean up, and we ended up getting to a lot more green flag racing now than we did yesterday.
Joel Guy and Ivan Garcia sitting back in 5th and 6th place. Ivan Garcia started 21st, currently in 6th. I'm assuming that this here goes as we expect it to, with 22 laps to go. Joel Guy and Ivan Garcia should hold down a very solid 5th and 6th. Michael Johnson working along with Ivan Garcia in 7th position. And in 8th and 9th position, Greg McClendon and Estill Fields working together. And those are the only 9 drivers left out here that survived the 3 major just complete pileups. Crazy cautions there earlier.
Huge cautions, huge wrecks. I mean, there was so much that was happening in such a short amount of time. It made for pretty cool shots, but at the same time, it's always disappointing to see when drivers end up tearing up vehicles in such a short notice and short amount of laps, really.
While we are at a lull in the action, probably going to remain that way for a little bit. I don't believe we've taken our second commercial break, Cody.
No, sir, we have not yet.
Now would be a good time for let's do that, and we'll be right back with you, folks.
ladies and gentlemen, we are back to the Green Flag Racing. Travis Browder, still your leader. Led a total of 13 laps so far, started in second position. Last lap was a 50.0100.
Now, we're getting to a little bit of action right here. Edward Bray taking Gary Whitmer to the front on that outside lane. Now, we had mentioned earlier, Cody, that Travis Browder is not in channel with anybody but Michael Johnson. Now, we always take care of Travis over here, but Travis Browder has got a win in recently. Edward Bray has got a win in, and each of these drivers have pushed one another. So one thing here at KMA, I always like to mention family. Gary Whitmer, it's been a few weeks since Gary has had a win, so there is a possibility right now that Edward Bray has locked onto the rear end of the number 5 of Gary Whitmer. Speaking of which, Cody, give me a camera shot, please, of the rear end of Gary Whitmer through the eyes of Edward Bray. But this could be the night Becky Whitmer will see young son Gary Whitmer bring her home.
Definitely see Edward just sawing at that wheel back and forth, trying to make sure he's nice, smooth, and steady right on the back end of GW. Does a great job right now, just keeping it steady, keeping it calm, nice pace, make sure Travis isn't pushing him too hard, and just kind of keeping the consistent pace that he usually does.
Well, they are heating it up with a little bit of side-by-side action. We've got Joel Guy pushing onto the rear end of the number 211 of Tristan Beats in the DFDA Chevy Silverado, and up track goes the number 5 of Gary Whitmer and Edward Bray, and they're trying to hook up Travis Browder, now going to be the odd man out, sitting here on lap 83. Joel Guy pulling back for him. I do believe Joel Guy is going to pull back for Travis just a little bit. "17 laps to go out here tonight." Looking at some of the lap leaders out here tonight, Gary Whitmer leading 12 laps. Edward Bray leading 23. Travis Browder has led 13. Michael Johnson, currently in 6th, has led 3. James Brown led 5 laps before his race was unfortunately over. And Matt Burkhart leading 1. Richard Brose led 10 laps tonight before he had to take it into the hauler, 43 laps down.
Still Fields ended up leading 4 laps. Donald Stewart 2 laps. Len McNeese 3. And Everett Lane ended up leading 7 before those drivers had to take it in. Still Fields back out on track. Looks like he's running with the second pack, back about 6 seconds off of the main pack.
Becky Whitmer out there tonight getting excited, hoping to see her son, Gary Whitmer Jr., bring home what I do believe would be his first win in a pad race, and driving the truck that he is driving. That would make it even that much more special. Big shout out there to PAD, People Against Distracted Driving. You can find more information about PAD at padd.org. Also, remember MaxMount. Check MaxMount out there, maxmount.com. Keeping your hands free by allowing a place for your phone to rest. And as a rule of thumb, ladies and gentlemen, whether it's there in your pocket or there in your seat or underneath your seat, as a rule of thumb, it really just should be off, so that there's not even the temptation out there. You can't answer what you cannot hear. Turn it down, turn it on vibrate, throw it into the back seat if need be, but do not have that phone in your hands while you're going down the wheel. In the blink of an eye, you could end somebody's life or your own. More information can be found at padd.org, and check them out on Facebook, PAD Motorsports Group.
Great job so far. Gary Whitmer still leading. Edward Bray still sitting second. Tristan Beats still sitting third. Joel Guy sitting fourth. Travis Browder sitting fifth. So still a great job done by these drivers out here, just trying to keep a consistent and smooth line, consistent and smooth pace. So really good job by all the drivers, just trying to make sure they make it, everybody makes it to the end right now. No real big reason to continue racing as hard as they were earlier, so I do expect this to go caution free from here, but just in case, we do have 13 laps to go, 5 cautions so far, 27 lead changes, and the caution laps totaling 14.
Big shout out there to Dre Broadcasting Network. So we're going to catch Dre up. Dre just joining us, getting done with his own responsibilities out there in the broadcasting field. What we had out here, David, we had like 3 huge cautions. 2 were back to back. It was a rough start out here tonight for Pad. We did see a little bit of green flag pit stops here later on, just a few laps ago, right there at about lap 70 or so. But unfortunately, we've really only got 9 drivers out here that are still rolling. We've got Gary Whitmer, Edward Brake, Tristan Beach, Joel Guy, and Travis Browder lined up in the top 5 positions. Travis Browder, though, desperately hanging on, possibly feeling like the odd man out. But no matter how many cautions we had, Cody, something else we have seen a lot of out here is that Purple Pride. And tonight we are driving in remembrance of Nikki Clenny. Gary Whitmer out there in the front driving the Angel truck out here tonight, doing a great job.
Yeah, I always love looking at the Fallen Angel truck because it's really a beautiful truck. Great job by the person that made it. I mean, it really is just a special truck. I believe that was made by Over the Top Paints and Designs, John Hendrick. Great job. Love the coloring, love the details, and really good job.
You're doing a very good job out there on those cameras. We've been seeing a lot of those logos, not only on the trucks, but up there onto the broadcasting screen as well. So, Cody, very good job.
Gotta love what you do to continue doing what you love. I mean, I really do enjoy doing this whole broadcast and camera working deal because it really just shows me a whole different side of the broadcast booth that I really actually quite enjoy.
I will be back here tomorrow night, ladies and gentlemen, I do believe at Daytona in race 11 of 12 in the Monday Night Mania Series. On Tuesday, we are playing around with some dirt. So we're going to set up a dirt track and see what we can do out there. Now that format is a little bit different, as we did find out. We're going to be doing a 30-minute practice session. So we will probably go live at 7:30 Central. I will be posting up that link. So stay tuned for that link. We're trying to figure out if we want to run a dirt track series, but again, those cars, you cannot give them fuel. So any of the races would be sitting at right at 30 to 35 laps, and that makes for about a 25-minute race. So maybe if we get into that, folks, we're going to probably have to do some back-to-back-to-back and have what we call heat races and main events and such. But we're ironing out all those details, but we hope to have that series back in full swing the first week of June, as well as the Monday Night Mania Series and the Friday Night Flights. We're going to be running all 3 weeks, all 3 nights of racing, side by side, week 1, week 2, and so forth. Now, coming up this weekend, Cody, talk to us about the 2 special races coming up on the 15th and the 16th.
The 2 special races, there is a suicide awareness race that is coming up on the 15th, and then there is the Drive for Autism race on the 16th. So 2 very special races along with our typical Friday Night Flights series. So a lot of racing going to be happening next weekend along with this weekend. And then the weekend after, we have a couple more special races that are going to be going up.
On the 22nd, 2 weeks from last night. So next week we got the suicide race and the autism race the following Saturday, the 22nd, I do believe. We're going to be doing our 4-year anniversary race for KMA Racing. April 21st, exact date, will mark 4 years since we did start KMA Racing. And Cody, you were actually one of my core members. I believe you were about the 4th driver I picked up. You were just a young puppy then, but you've been up here, and you're more than a driver. You're actually a challenge taker. You actually do way beyond what I could ever expect anybody to do. You're up here making things happen, and you are a huge part of what has brought KMA Racing to where it is today, as well as a huge part of KMA TV.
Well, I really like doing what I do for KMA, and it always makes me smile when I can see other drivers and other teams come out, say KMA is actually some of the best, in the business. And on iRacing, we've done so many different things. So glad to be a part of this area, and it's be coming up on 4 years is pretty amazing, because when I started, I was 16 years old, didn't have a driver's license, wasn't really prepared, and now I've graduated from college, had high honors, and I'm now able to work with great people, great controls, and be able to change just about anything, anywhere, anytime that I request. And it's really cool for me to be able to be in the high position that I am with you and with Ed and Joel, and it's really awesome just to be out here, really. And for 4 years, a league that can last for 4 years is really something special. But not only to just be a league, it's still just really awesome to be able to be a part of something that's still growing and still being able to, be a part of this. It's just really awesome, and for KMA to continue growing after 4 years, it's huge. For any league to be around after 4 years, it's really big. So congratulations to KMA on almost making it to 4 years. We will be making it, guaranteed, no matter what happens. Can't wait for the 4-year anniversary to come up.
Good stuff right there. Becky Whitmer on the edge of her seat, hoping that she will watch her son Gary Whitmer bring home the win tonight in the Nicky truck here in the race for PAD. Unfortunately, it did end up being a little bit of a snoozer. I'm not going to lie, folks. I'll tell you what, we saw some great graphics out there tonight, saw some great logos. Travis Browder onto the rear end of Joel Guy. I do expect them to finish this out double foul. I'm thinking we might even see some pretty light. It may even be a huge wreck there at the start-finish line. Just not sure if these drivers are going to stay single file or if Edward Bray is going to try to pull a fast one, because we know Travis being on the tail end of that field, I think his best hope would be to hope that Joel Guy will try to make a run onto that outside lane. Travis Browder is already starting to hover onto that outside lane just a bit.
Yeah, Travis has definitely been out there on that outside line trying to just figure out on whether or not he wants to go big and try to pass the entire field. He's been hovering out there trying to get somebody to go with him. Hasn't been able to do it yet, but it still is possible, because with the 2 laps to go that we have, there is still a possibility that Michael Johnson in the 004 will be caught, as Travis Browder is making a run on the outside by himself.
Travis is making a run. He's hoping that Gary Ed will come up, but right there they did not come up. And that is no disrespect to Travis at all. This is the KMA League, and all these drivers are part of the KMA League. But Travis does drive for maximum velocity, and these are KMA drivers, and we take good care of Travis. But there is also something to be said about wanting to see a complete top 4, even if you're the last drivers out here standing, the last lucky ones that were able to survive in the melee out here earlier. So, Travis Browder, I think he will be very proud coming in on a possible 5th position. But you know, the fat lady has not yet sung, Cody. It is not over, and anything can happen.
Yeah, we did just cross that line for the white flag. Gary Whitmer still holding strong in first place. If Tristan's going to make a move, which he does, it is now. So now he falls back in line. Ooh, tough move. Travis Browder back on the outside, left by himself. Not able to quite jump as far forward as he wanted to. But now it is all up to Tristan on whether or not he wants to try to make that move once more. As they are coming out of turn 4, it looks like Tristan might be trying for that outside once more. Joel Guy helping him out, giving him a little bit of a shove. And it's going to be tight crossing the line as the checkered flag is flying in the air, and Gary Whitmer will be able to capture it.
Alrighty, copy that. Give me that winner circle. Right there as Gary Whitmer wins the race for Pad 266. And ladies and gentlemen, we're going to get these drivers in here for driver interviews. How about it?
Great job,
Mr.
guys.
Tristan Beats. How about it, Tristan?
What's going on, Scott?
All right, that was some good racing right there. We were watching you guys and wondering if Joel was going to take Travis with them or if Tristan was going to compete with Joel. What a great finish. Talk to me about that last lap.
We were all just kind of running together, and we were trying to keep in front of Travis so that we could get these 4 KMA cars up towards that finish line and into the win. And we were all just kind of working together in there. We were all in the same channel and all kind of wanting to work together. I was really hoping that Joel and I could push through and he would push me to get a win, but when it came to time, he kind of lost all his momentum and wasn't able to get up to my bumper, so I had to settle for a 3rd. But a 3rd is still a great finish. KMA picked up top 4, and that's fine with me.
Alrighty, good job. I appreciate you coming out tonight for the race for Pad 266. Getting that solid 2nd place position, we have Edward Bray representing KMA Racing, Black Talon, and Pad looking very sharp in 2nd place. Talk to me, Ed.
Hey, how's it going, Scott? It was a good race. Looked like we after that big one sort of weeded out a bunch of drivers, but KMA worked together and pulled a KMA driver to the win.
Now, we noticed that you did not go out there to challenge Gary. Now, we were up here in the booth, Cody and I, talking about the possible scenarios as far as Joel and Tristan and Travis hanging on back there for dear life. You stayed very dedicated to Gary Whitmer. Talk to me about that. Were you thinking about going around him, hoping Tristan would go with you, or were you just signed, sealed, and delivered his best friend for the night?
I was signed, sealed, and delivered with Gary. I even told Gary I was pushing him all the way to the finish, and hopefully I could push him to the win.
All right, great job, great paint job out there, Edward. Appreciate the use of the KMA TV logos and the Pad logos, looking great. Good job, Edward.
Thanks, Scott.
All righty, Mr. Gary Whitmer. Day late with that birthday win right there for Mom Whitmer out there, but she says a great belated birthday. Shout outs there from Dre Broadcasting Network for you. Talk to me about that last lap.
The last lap, I had a lot of help from Edward Bray. I want to thank him a lot. He helped me there for the last, 10, 15 laps. Stuck together, and brought this one home.
Alrighty, real quick, before we sign out, anything else you would like to talk about as far as Pad goes and what's going on next weekend?
Yeah, next weekend, Pad's doing a walk with Pad. I think it's a 2-mile walk for a great cause and to remember Nikki. I think it's her 5th year anniversary, and it's pretty cool to win a Pad race with the Pad theme also.
Very cool indeed. We're going to get some pictures up on that one there. Good job there to Gary Whitmer.
All right, thanks everybody. Thanks to fans, KMA TV, and all of us out here at KMA.
All right, Cody, show us some race results and talk to us real briefly about tonight's race.
Oh, tonight's race. Really, the race went really well, and I was actually kind of shocked on how it ended out. It was a little bit on the unknown side. I didn't understand why so many drivers ended up dropping the way they did, but at the same time, we did have quite a few big cautions. We did have 5 cautions, 14 caution laps. Very few cautions, but they were big. So, you know, the big ones, they usually end up happening here at Talladega anyway. So, good to see, good to know. A lot of the drivers out here, KMA ends up taking home a top 4. Travis Browder, great job in 5th position. So, awesome to see that happen. Glad to see it can happen still. And, you know, it was really a cool night. It was awesome to see the way that everything happened. So, now for the driver results, if I can find them here. The driver results were really pretty good. I mean, Gary finished first, Edward second, Tristan third, Joel fourth, and Travis Browder finishing out 5th. So, I mean, great job by those top 5 and everybody that ended up finishing the race. Even those that were not able to finish the race, it was still a great job done by them.
Alrighty, and I did fail to mention to Gary, so I'm going to have to get down there with Gary. But Gary will get a cap from Cora for winning tonight's race for Pad 266. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for watching and the kind words out there on that chat. Big shout out to Pad, People Against Distracted Driving. I am Scott, and he is Cody, and I'll be back here tomorrow night for Monday Night Mania. Have a good night, guys.